How long do I have to be here?
You're gonna be the most wanted man in the world.
This has nothing to do with our plan. What's going on? Where's Elliot? We have work to do. I will always be loyal to Elliot.
Hey guys, Pete here. Gonna look at the new footage from the upcoming episode 3 of Mr. Robot Season 3 today. There's also been some new photos that were released and an interesting tweet by the series creator Sam Esmail. He was asked on his account which episode he was most excited for fans to see, and he said next week's episode is his favorite so far. That's exciting. He's done that in the past when people have asked him, and I wasn't personally let down. It happened, the last time I saw it happen was in season 2, in the middle of the season, I guess, and I remember thinking that he didn't pull any punches. He was telling the truth. And I don't think we'll be let down as a result of that. And on top of that, I think there's good reason to believe that based on what we've seen in this short promo, it looks very much like a flashback episode to a time we, like Elliot, have been left in the dark about. Bearded Tyrell and Irving seem to be hiding out, and the voiceover gives us some pretty good hints about what's happening. At the same time, the clips are a bit hit or miss. We don't see Angela or Dom, we don't see Price, we don't see White Rose, except for one quick clip. In the promo photos, we do see Angela though, and we'll talk about that after we get through this trailer. The complete voiceover goes like this. We hear Tyrell say, "How long do I have to be here?" Then Irving says, "You're going to be the most wanted man in the world." Tyrell, "This has nothing to do with our plan. What's going on? Where's Elliot? We have work to do." And then we hear Tyrell say, "I will always be loyal to Elliot." Real quick, before we look at the images, the frame by frame, I think it's interesting that right before Joanna died in episode 2, she said that she would always be loyal to Tyrell. And here we have him, who's obviously hiding out, saying that he's always going to be loyal to Elliot. So the frame by frame goes like this. We see a big wide open shot from the top of a car driving. All we can really make out is headlights. It looks like a car, and it looks to be in a wooded area. That's all we can really tell from that shot. We see regular-looking Tyrell entering a room. This is where he says, "How long do I have to be here?" in the voiceover. He's got his regular clothes on here, the stuff he wears to Evil Corp for his day job. Based on what we've seen, we have to imagine this is the hideout, and this is when he first arrives there after the 5-9 hack went down. Nighttime shot of New York City comes next. There is a little Pontiac there that reminds me of the car that was being driven by Irving in the other episode. The two guys standing behind it looked like they could be Asian to me, and then we see someone coming up to them to talk to them. My guess on that one is it's Irving, but that's really just my best guess. See Tyrell in the house. We have to imagine it's that same house that he entered, and he looks stressed out by what he sees on the computer screen. Can't 100% make it out, but it's a pretty good guess that that's an article about Joanna and all the turmoil that's caused. Obviously, if he's in this house as a safe house right after the hack, which I would guess that's what's going on, we have to imagine that this is where he was through the entirety of season 2. So he's forced to watch all this stuff go down. And you remember how everything was swirling around Joanna because they were trying to find him. We see him sharpening an axe, which is repeated several times through here. He seems to pick up a hobby of chopping wood. Maybe it's like a chopping wood therapy he goes and does to help him blow off steam while he's trapped in the house. We have this shot here that's obviously later based on the beard. He's in disguise for the most part. I don't pick anything up in this frame to tell me for sure where this is. We do see a little bubble camera there above the doorway, which makes it look like an official location, but there's nothing else to tell us for sure where they are right here. Get another shot of bearded Tyrell sitting in front of a terminal. He's looking back at someone. This goes along with the voiceover part where he says this has nothing to do with our plan. What does that mean? Does that mean that he has to do something else for them while he's hidden away? Is there another part of the plan he didn't understand? We really don't know. We don't know anything about those 3 days, really. Or for that matter, what I've been thinking about when I was looking through this is we don't really know what other interaction Tyrell and Elliot had as far as planning's concerned leading up to Tyrell being in this safe house. There's a shot here where Irving looks pretty relaxed doing a crossword, and we can see Tyrell through the doorway there. He's freaking out. Looks like he has cabin fever at the very least. And Irving seems pretty unaffected by the whole thing. There's a shot of Tyrell chopping wood from a higher vantage point, which is pretty cool looking, but I don't know what's going on here. You see a map. It has pins in it. These could be places where they've seen Tyrell or had sightings or something along those lines. You can see that some of them have black pinheads and one has a red. It's up in upstate New York. All in all, they all seem to be around that area. Could be one in Pennsylvania or two in Pennsylvania there, but they're mostly around New York. I have a shot where Tyrell's walking briskly through the woods, if not running, with a backpack on. Does he try to escape? Is he out to get exercise? We don't really know. He's just not in the house in this particular part. We see him again without a beard. This could be right when they arrive. This could be right before they leave. But the only thing that stands out about this scene is that he's clean shaven. Then we see Elliot. My best guess of when this is would be after he was shot. He ended up in Angela's apartment, but at some point he had 6 days that he doesn't remember. See another sequence of not bearded Tyrell freaking out, slamming his hands down on a table. See him cutting wood again. Still doesn't have a beard in this scene. Get a shot of White Rose. There seems to be some guards there. She's looking at a tablet. We see kind of a flip of the case, but we don't know what else is happening right there. Here we have a exchange of a gun. Now, I've looked at this and the other part. This appears to be in the warehouse where Elliot was shot. So when I initially looked at it, I thought it was probably Irving giving the gun back after he cleaned up the scene. But if you look at the little bit of detail we have there, it almost looks like Elliot's hand on the left-hand side passing the gun. So I can't say for sure. It looks like somebody wearing a suit as opposed to the Mr. Robot jacket on the right, but I can't say for sure. Get another shot of the bearded Tyrell with Irving. They just seem to be lounging around waiting, which if you think about it, they probably did quite a lot of this since they were hiding out. It almost looks like Irving could be nodding off here, like falling asleep for a nap. This could be related to Tyrell trying to run away. In the very next scene, we see him in the woods again. He's wearing his aviator shades and he is startled by something. It's a shot of him in what looks like his bedroom in the house. He's closing his laptop. Got someone standing behind him that we're just going to have to guess is Irving because you can't see for sure. It's the only person that really makes sense. And there's really not much more detail here to go off of. We do see him in bed. He looks like he's having a hard time sleeping. Then we cut to this car, and this seems to be the most loaded sequence in the entire trailer. You can see that there's a divider in this car, like a cop car, which we see later. Tyrell's obviously frightened about who's coming to the door. It cuts to Leon, who's wearing an orange jumpsuit, so we have to imagine that this is when Elliot was in jail, but we can't know that for sure. This could be when the Dark Army makes their approach for him. This next shot is pretty interesting. We see the SUV, which we're going to see from the outside later. And we see Santiago looking in the car. This is where Tyrell was. And it looks like Tyrell probably got himself picked up. But somehow Santiago comes along to spring him. Now, there's been a lot of clues that give us the idea that Santiago is probably working with the Dark Army. I brought that up in several videos, and this would seem to be confirmation of that fact. We saw in episode 2 that Dom definitely doesn't know where Tyrell is, and If Santiago is right here with him during that time when he was missing, that's pretty much a smoking gun that he is helping the Dark Army and helping Tyrell not be caught. Quick shot of Darlene, who's wearing her heart-shaped sunglasses. This makes me think that it's probably a flashback to the season 1 timeline again, but I can't tell you for sure. This is the shot that we've seen in the first trailer with Tyrell and his beard and Irving. This looks less like the house, but we can't really say for sure. This could be Tyrell's return to New York. Here's the police car and the SUV. Looks like a county police. You can't really make out the markings or anything, but it's definitely related to that scene with Santiago and Tyrell in the back. We see the cuffs here. Those are Tyrell's hands. And this goes in line with him saying, "I'll always be loyal to Elliot." See him cutting wood one last time. Get a quick sequence of shots. These are his aviators. He looks like he just got his new sunglasses. Interesting sequence of Mr. Robot. He has the gun in his hand here. He seems to be handing it to someone who, in this shot, looks like it's Elliot. Based on the sleeves, it looks like the hoodie. Where that splint on the thumb came from and how Mr. Robot ends up handing the gun to Elliot isn't clear by any stretch of the imagination. It brings up the idea we did see that shot of the popcorn machine in the trailer that we haven't seen yet, where we saw what looked like Elliot punching out the glass, but we're going to have to wait and see what's actually going on here. Get a shot of Tyrell's baby on a baby cam. Have to imagine this is him watching from afar. See a couple of shots of a tea kettle boiling on a stove that are cut with a shot of what we imagine is Tyrell's desktop. You can see the baby cam in one of the windows. His tabs don't really give away a lot. We see the unlimited power supply batteries thing that he was talking about overheating to blow up that building or burn that building down. We see what looks like a PDF file of the ventilation. Then we get these two guys in the Dark Army masks, which we've seen in the trailer. This could be the house, the hideout. I mean, that's the most likely idea. When I first saw this, I had no idea where it would be at. But when we see Tyrell first walk in, it looks like there is some wood paneling in that house. And we have this shot of someone looking out of the curtains when what looks like New York City. It looks like Tyrell based on the clothes, but it's not very clear. But this could be related to after he shaves his beard and puts on the suit that we saw in that other scene. Another quick look at the tea kettle boiling, and then we get the back and forth of Elliot in bed and Mr. Robot in bed. And I would imagine that that's a hint that when he got shot, they did sort of separate, and that's how Mr. Robot's able to deal with Angela without Elliot knowing up until this point. Now, those are probably in her place when he's getting better, actually not in a hospital, so that could give us some information on how that relationship got kicked off. As far as these photos that were released, we have a couple of Angela, one with her looking up and one with her looking down in the same location. Can't say for sure. She looks like she's dressed for work. This could be in her apartment. This could be when she first meets Mr. Robot. We have 3 shots of Irving. In one, he's in a car. In another, he's walking out of that building that we saw him coming out of with Tyrell in the beginning of the trailer. And then we have one where he's in what looks like a lobby. There's some art there and a nice lamp. It looks like a lobby of a building, but other than the painting and the lamp, I mean, there's really nothing to tell us that it's something that we've seen before in this series that I can think of. And then we have one shot of Tyrell that looks like it is in the building where they worked on stage 2. So that's pretty much it for new material. Like I said, the Sam Esmail Twitter post is exciting. It would be a really nice payoff if we learn a lot about what happened in those days that were in between the time that Elliot doesn't remember and then also the time after that up until Tyrell came back. And that's what it looks like we're going to deal with here. I really wouldn't mind it if the whole episode wasn't a flashback except for a couple of things here and there. I mean, obviously, if Angela Angela could be a flashback too. We don't really know. But one thing I wanted to point out was based on other trailers and other shots we have of Irving, we did see him at Coney Island with those two guys with Dark Army masks. So the two that are sitting on the couch in that shot are probably those same two. So let's hope that we do see Coney Island here. There's nothing to say for sure we will, but that is some circumstantial evidence that we might be tying into that. The Leon thing is a little bit out of place. I saw earlier this week that someone pointed out that in the trailer where we see Leon, he's actually in Elliot's apartment. We can tell because of the lamp that's there. He put a new lamp in, and there's a shot of Leon where he's smoking in the one trailer, and he's sitting right next to that lamp. Does that mean that he knocked off Mobley and Trenton? I mean, I still kind of doubt that because I just don't see they were such a big part. I just don't see them not having an ending in the show, but that's possible. It's also possible he might have brought them back, but we don't know where in this season's timeline that fits in. I think with him in jail, that it's most likely that they have him. We find out how he ended up protecting Elliot. And if you didn't read the book in the off season, we learn a lot more about that time. But we really don't learn that much more about Leon other than what he did to help keep Elliot safe. So I'm really excited. This season's been going great. Check out my recap for episode 2 if you haven't seen it yet. I'll be doing one more video this week before the new episode comes out, hopefully tomorrow. I'll take a look at all the Easter eggs because there was a whole lot of them that popped up. It'll be a things you might have missed video for episode 2, and that'll be coming next. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're into Mr. Robot. I plan on keeping up with everything throughout this season, and I need your support to keep on doing that. So subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you'll know when my next Mr. Robot video comes out. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook so we can keep in touch over there. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you soon.